Hello. So in this video, we are going to discuss the anatomy of a command, which basically means that the commands that you are going to give on the command line, they take up some options, arguments, and some other aspects. So now, what are the options? What are arguments? And what is the command itself? Let's start to discuss about that. Once you have understood this, it will be easier for you to visualize a command and how to give the commands. So now, in most of the commands or any command that you want to run, fine, the first thing that you need to write on the command line is the name of the command itself. Fine, so that would be the command. Now keep in mind the command names are case sensitive, so you will have to write the command name as it is. Like for example, the simplest thing that you could do is run the ls command and it will give you the output of ls, or like you could run the date command and it simply gives you the output of date, whatever is the command. Okay, now every command that you write can follow with something called as the options or flags. So what are the options and flags? You can find it out from the help or by looking at the man page of this. So what the options or flags can do for you is that it can change the behavior or the output of the command. For example, let's go to first directory called as boot. Fine, here I'm running a command clear. It generally does not takes any options, so let me clear the screen. Now here, if I run the command called as ls, fine, without any options or the arguments part, so what it is going to do is it will run in a default behavior and it gives me some output over here. Now I want to change this view, or usually the commands have built-in options which let us see the things in a different manner. So the options are usually passed with a hyphen. So for example, if we come back to our command prompt, ls can take a option which will start with a hyphen. So the options that are given are usually given after the command, but there is no rule that you cannot give it after the argument, which we'll be discussing in a moment. So option basically changes the behavior of the command or the default behavior, or some extra work can be done with the options. So like if I take a option of hyphen l, which is the long listing format, what happens here is that the output comes in a long listed format, or whatever we were seeing initially, now it is showing it in a different manner. Now options can be given in two ways. One is with the single hyphen, and another is with double hyphen. Now if we look at the man page of ls, fine, what you will see is the options that are available with this. So the single hyphen options are always single characters, and there is a way to give options with double hyphen, which is basically given with two of these. Now whenever we use the double hyphen, all the options will have to be separated. What I mean by that is that I could do a ls hyphen hyphen all. Okay, so what it will take is this particular option all. Okay, keep that in mind. Double hyphens whenever are used, so it is a option which is given as a word, and single character options are given with single hyphen. The very interesting part with single character options are that they can be clubbed together. So if I do a, let me clear the screen. If I do a ls hyphen l, this is a single line option, single character option. Now if I club it with a, or if I club it with h, which is human readable format, so it will do two things. So let's first see the output of ls-h. L, which is basically a long listing format, and if you look at this particular point, what is happening here is the file sizes are being shown in bytes or kilobytes. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we can add another option which is hyphen h, which will display me this file sizes in human readable format. Okay, so now it is coming in human readable format, but the advantage of using single character options is that we can club them together. So the options with a single hyphen, basically l means long listing format, h means human readable format, and all those things you could club together Usually in most of the cases the sequence of these options is not very important. In very rare cases it is there, and sometimes you might have to separate them, but generally single character options can be clubbed together. But double character options or multiple character or word options, you will have to say in this manner. Okay, so let's have a look at the man page again, man page of ls. So here you can see these options are given in a different manner. Fine. So for H it is hyphen hyphen human readable. So if I wanted to give these two options, I will have to do minus minus all and minus minus human readable. Fine. So here we get it in a different manner. Of course, the human readable did not work because this is not in a long listing format, or we are not showing the size. So I should do it in long listing format with a single option, and this is in human readable format. So this is the second part, the options or flags that we can give, and in most of the cases the flags are given with a hyphen. Some commands are there which might take the flags without the hyphen also, but those are rare cases that you will come to know when you come across those commands. But commonly most of the commands are going to take this options with single hyphen, where single character options are given and they can be clubbed together, and multiple character option or word based options are given with double hyphen, and you cannot club them together, you have to write them separately. Now the last part that comes over here is the arguments. Fine. The arguments are usually the file names or directories on which you want to do the work. Fine. So let's take a simple example over here. Is let's go to uh, etc. Okay, and over here let's have a look at our program with a text editor nano. We will see the file called as, there is a file, I'm just using this file for a reason. So there is this file which contains some entries. Fine. Now we'll exit this. Now there is a command called as sort, 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 which can sort a given file and show me the output over here. So if I say sort group, okay, it will sort the content of the file and display me in the alphabetical order. As you can see, it is coming up in the alphabetical order. Fine. Now I could use some other sort options uh, here and make the function work in a different manner. So the point is, this particular thing is the argument to this particular command. This is given as an argument. This is the name of the file on which I want to work, and I could pass the parameter like, for understanding, I'm going to say minus t is this is one of the cases where I have to separate the parameter. So t basically is the delimiter. So we want to sort our file on these particular things, last one. So I will have to say minus t minus k3, that is the field 3. Okay, another parameter which I'm separating over here. And when I do this, what happens is our file is sorted on these options. Fine. The last one, but you can see the sorting happened on again alphabetical order. Though it is numbers, it is using dictionary sort over here. So what we will do is we will put another option which is called as a numeric sort, and I will put n over here, and let's see if it works. So over here now you can see I passed the option n, which means sorted numerically. T option which I passed with a argument to t, this option itself, and that is what will be the delimiter of the file. And this third option which says based on this parameter we will be doing sorting on the last column or the third column, and this is the argument. Finally the file name is the argument over here. Fine. So usually the arguments are file names in our commands. So another example that we can see over here is, I'll show you a command called as head. And head command, if we don't pass any options, it will directly take the file name as an argument. Fine. So here this is the file name which is being passed as an option, and sorry, not as an option but as a argument. So file names or directory names are usually the arguments, and the options or flags are usually optional. So if you don't put an option, the command works in its default manner. So what the head command does is it prints me the first 10 lines. Now if I wanted to change this behavior, I could say -n. This is an option with the head command, and I will say that I want the first 5 lines. So in this case, it is going to print me the first 5 lines. So I'm with by passing an option and the options parameter, and finally the argument which is the file name, I could print or change how the command is working in a default manner. Many commands can accept multiple arguments. So let's try with this. Another file I'm passing. So first it should print me 5 lines from the first file, then it should print me 5 lines from another file. Fine. So here you can see it is printing me first 5 lines from this file, and it is printing me first 5 lines from the second file. So the point to understand is whenever we will be working with any kind of commands, for the first thing we are going to give the command, we can use the command without any options and arguments, and the command will work in a default manner. But many of the commands will need a file that has to be passed and processed, so it will need some argument. Commands like ls, cd, these can work without any arguments also. They have some their default behavior, but if a command does not have a default behavior, it will expect you to pass the file names as arguments. So this is the anatomy of a command. Whenever you are going to use a command, you will be using the command, then you may or may not use options, the single character options or the word options by using single hyphen or double hyphen, and then you will pass the file names or directory names as the arguments. Fine. I hope that clarifies how a command is given on the command line. There are a few more interesting aspects of the command line where we can use something called as a IO redirection and piping, and that can make it more interesting, but about that we will discuss in some other video.